Good afternoon. Whoa, that's hot. Sorry. Not to be all Saturday Night Live or anything. It's before y'all's time. Never mind. Anyway, good afternoon. I'll stick to my script. And welcome to the 47th Annual Showcase of the Arts, presented by the Bloomington chapter of the National Society of Arts and Letters. My name is Eric Anderson, Jr., and it is once again my distinct honor and pleasure to serve as this year's Master of Ceremonies. As a part of their mission to identify, encourage, and assist young talent, local NSAL chapters across the country, 19 in all, hold a series of competitions each spring in the areas of dance, drama, musical theater, literature, music, and visual art. And the winners of the Bloomington competitions, the spectacularly gifted young men and women who have been invited to perform for you today, will be receiving more than $25,000 in awards. You are going to witness a wonderful array of talent this afternoon. And the best part to me is these young men and women are just at the start. And NSAL's passion and commitment is to give them that boost of encouragement, confidence, and cash to keep pursuing their art. And I have to say the Bloomington chapter has a pretty good track record so far. Just thinking off the top of my head, a couple that I happen to know personally, remembering last year's musical theater winner Charnette Beatty, who in the days of moving to New York City earlier this year booked the role of Dina Jones in the musical Dreamgirls at the highly esteemed Gallery Players in Brooklyn. Yes, why not? And previous vocal winner Sean Davies is waiting as we speak to hear the results of her performance in the incredibly prestigious invitation-only Richard Tucker competition. So if there's one thing you can say about the Bloomington NSAL, it is that they have impeccable taste. So moving on to the performances themselves. Our first performer this afternoon is Maria Jose Romero Ramos, who is pursuing a master's in violin performance at the Indiana University Jacobs School of Music with Professor Kevork Martirosyan, and is a recipient of the Jacobs Fellowship and hails from Valencia, Venezuela. She has been a member of professional orchestras such as the Plano and Irving Symphony Orchestras, as well as the Sphinx Chamber Orchestra, and recently performed with the Indianapolis Baroque Orchestra as winner of their concerto competition. Today she brings us the Sonata for Violin and Piano in G minor by Claude Debussy, accompanied at the piano by Daniel Inamorato. Our next performer hails from Huntingdon Valley, Pennsylvania. Currently a freshman studying ballet at the Jacobs School, Laura Gruner received her dance training from the Philadelphia Dance Theater under the direction of Joy Capone. Laura has attended summer programs at American Ballet Theater, Houston Ballet, and Boston Ballet on scholarship. She was a Youth American Grand Prix finalist from 2005 to 2011, and in 2012, Laura was a featured cast member on the Ovation original television series A Chance to Dance. This afternoon, she will be performing Estirado, choreographed by Joy Capone. Please welcome Laura Gruner.
Santa María del Guanay. Argentina, Buenos Aires.
Thank you, Laura. Next to the stage, we welcome Todd Ulworm, a freshman at Indiana University majoring in musical theater. He has been involved with community theater in his hometown of Crown Point since he was in the second grade, and while at Indiana, he has appeared in the University Players production of Zombie Prom, several group recitals at the Jacobs School of Music, and the IU Department of Theater's Theater and Dramas, currently running production of Sunday in the Park with George, performing the roles of Franz and Redmond. He also plays the cello and claims he can be heard whistling on a tune anywhere he goes. Today, accompanied by Nat Zagri on piano, he will perform musical selections from Barnum and Next to Normal and a monologue from Men Suck. Please welcome them both.
If I in this stupid apartment, choking down the same takeout dinner and watching the same show that I never found funny. 2 minutes. Tonight, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna put on a nice shirt, some clean jeans, and I'm gonna go out to the bar and buy myself my favorite drink. A sea breeze, right? Who doesn't love a sea breeze? And you sit there, and you drink your drink, and you think your thoughts, what happens? Some guy who thinks playing high school football made him God comes up to you smelling of cheap beer and cigars and wants to take you home with him. Thinks that you're melting in the presence of the hot-blooded American bear. They never noticed the plastic smile, forced laughter. Do they? There I go again, trying to separate myself from them, but I am one, a man, accident of birth. Perfect for you. I could be perfect for you. I might be lazy or a bit of a stoner, it's true. But I could be perfect. I'll make myself perfect, perfect for you. You square all corners, I'll straighten the curves. But even if everything else turns to dirt, it'll be the one thing in this world that won't hurt. I can't fix what's fucked up, but one thing I know I can do, I can be perfect for you.
Thank you, Todd, for such a fantastic performance. Now we turn to the written word. Hiba Krisht is from Beirut, Lebanon, and while in her past life she may have taught logic and ethics at the American University of Beirut, she is currently a Master of Fine Arts candidate in creative writing at Indiana University. She has served as fiction editor of Rusted Radishes, which is the Beirut Literary and Arts Review, and layout editor of Mideast Mirror Daily. She loves Nietzsche, awkward humor, Levantine cuisine, modal quantification, and scarves. Her fiction appears in Hayden's Fairy Review, the Evergreen Review, the Banyan Tree, and Rusted Radishes. Today, she reads a selection from her short story, Tin Beirut. Please welcome Hiba Krisht.
Story is called Tin Beirut. It begins with an epigraph. The world is a tin bowl, flick one part and it shudders altogether. Lebanese proverb. Beirut brimmed with pigeons, with burgeoned bananas and chimeras in the years after the Civil War. She was a castaway, a blunderer with traces of lazuli ripe on her eyelids from better days gone past. Some of those born into her streets passed through grimly, waiting for their boats to leave port on a happier morning. Others stayed, spilling their wares, fresh and new with post-war gleaming onto sidewalks. They sat in undershirts and tasseled scarves through the afternoons with their teas, their tobaccos, spitting into the streets to relieve pumpkin seeds of their shells. They hung their hearts on the walls in the backs of kitchen flats and chased away the acrid taste of gunpowder with dreams. It was early in the afternoon that Dalila sat in her flat and destroyed wedding dresses. She frayed their hems and tore them into strips, dipping them into vats of dye. They turned dark as the dust-filmed blinds that blocked the sunlight from her veranda doors. She pinned them to the lines spooled taut between her windows, and they fluttered like cruel banners and sucked the hope from young girls who eyed them from the street. Boys passing below looked at them too and thought of them and desired things to do with their errant floppy quiet. A boy trailing down the street beneath Dalila's window, 6 years old, Farid, on his way to see his father in the sweet shop with a paper bag of charcoal briquettes sawing canyons into the inner skin of his elbows. The charcoal would feed a roaring back alley fire to boil the syrup. There would be a napkin folded around something crumbling and cloying tossed into his palm. There would be a 500 Lebanese pound coin smooth like a stone in his pocket to buy something concurrently salty with. He walked with his head to the sky, knowing the maneuvering of these streets by a lazy heart. He looked up to the ragged banners beneath Dalila's window and thought about shimmying up the street lamp pole the banner slapped against, this pole rough and sticky enough for traction, which he could climb to collect the streaming grain black, to twist it into turbans, to knot it into ropes, to string between windows in the flats of Camp Sabra, lines of communication, of deliverance, of invisibility against the night, to reenact the grim and glorious guerrilla of the occupied South, to bring himself home to Palestine. But he would have to lay his charcoal prize too temptingly against that pole, no good. He gave his shoulders a shudder and moved on. Dalila watched him beneath her window, watched the grace of his lingering, his bird peck dance of hesitation before he picked up pace with a hitch to his brown shoulders, a hitch to the cling of his brown arms against heavy paper. He turned the corner in a shimmery haze and was gone, and with him gone also the twinge deep in Dalila's belly for the right to lay her hands against shoulders that narrow. Dalila, with her arms and legs as sturdy as telephone poles, her fingers webbing and gloating through the gowns that lined up at her door, careful and clean in plastic bags. She commissioned the prostitutes of Beirut to bring her dresses so she could destroy them with lusty vengeance. The prostitutes had nails that scarred the bags with runs like their pantyhose. This was good. The first defilement of each gown's purity, the next sped to the tune of Dalila's jaws working, cracking mastic between her teeth, clack, 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 like a freight train. Her hands moved in time with the urgent spurting and quelling somewhere in her innards, feeding the strength of her forearms. She ripped, stripped, dyed, and dried, and snapped each banner taut before hanging it, leaning out of her sill with the mark of jaw that only an older and heftier woman could have. This was the only type of set to a face that could chase away the whispers of the indecency of a bosom hanging out of a window in Beirut daylight, watching every young being in the streets below. And Dalila watched. She watched the one prostitute leave who had just delivered her dress and lingered perhaps too dreamily down the 8 flights of steps. This girl, her ankles ambled, this Raya, with fingers too lazily closed around the bills that Dalila proffered. But she showed up at Dalila's door with the most exquisite dresses in Tao, delicate and floating as froth. Boutique owners and their cleaning wenches were sweet to her, willing to believe such a creamy-faced girl a bride. Wrestling away the unbidden twinge again, nested somewhere against her ribs this time, Dalila turned away from her window and back to face her steaming vats. In the street below, Raya stopped partway to the corner. Her hands were glad to be rid of the spurning plastic of the garment bag, its sun-spent rubber burn. She whisked a cigarette from her wristband, a lighter from her bosom. She never wore dresses with pockets. A devil lurked too readily in a pocket and nudged its contents into street gutters or unfriendly hands. She looked back and up at the drab streamers sluicing from Dalila's window and smoked. This Dalila was a woman long ago spurned in love, agile in her malice. Her old family money and new war money rotted in the bases of clay flower pots in the corners of her flat and lay wedged in the braziers of the whores of Beirut. Raya suddenly remembered that old Lebanese saying and allowed a slow shudder to course up her legs and deplete at her hip bones. She took only a moment to absorb it and resumed her walk. Raya tapped her cigarette against her thigh, mindful of the burn, and tossed it away as she made her way down the street. Because cigarettes were too indecent and not for the persona she wore for this daytime work, wedding boutique owners should forget her face, wan and lustful as any typical bride's, before they had the time to replace the dresses she coaxed from their windows. She meandered through the streets of Hamra and stopped between a chocolaterie and a shop selling pinstripe men's suits. The sleazy electric sign belonging to the boutique across the street fizzled off with an exhausting finality. It must be 3 p.m. and time for the afternoon's power outage. Because this was a country where street lights and shop signs glowed extravagantly in the daylight and the hours where there was power, and where long power cuts left citizens bursting to repair diesel-guzzling generators, to keep their businesses running, and to keep up the dizzy spin of their ceiling fans. Thank you.
Thank you, Hiba. Excuse me. Next up, we have Katie Zimmerman, an Indiana University freshman from Pennsylvania. A ballet major with an outside field and business, Katie has been training in dance, primarily ballet, along with modern and jazz for the past 12 years. Today, she will be dancing the wedding variation from Paquita. Thank you, Katie. That was beautiful. Our next honored performer is Brianna McClellan, a senior majoring in theater and drama at Indiana University. She was most recently seen as Pauline in Maggie Cassidy at the Bloomington Playwrights Project, a production I had the immense pleasure of music directing, if I may say so. She has also been found on stage at IU performing roles in A Midsummer Night's Dream, The Three Musketeers, Hay Fever, A Little Night Music, and Blood Brothers. In the Indiana Festival Theater's inaugural season, she was seen as Muriel in Ah Wilderness and The Courtesan and Comedy of Errors. Brianna was crowned Miss Indiana University last year and competed at Miss Indiana this past summer. Originally from Chesapeake, Virginia, Brianna will perform today as Desdemona from Othello and Sally from Valhalla.
Oh, good Iago. What shall I do to win my lord again? Good friend, go to him, for by this light of heaven, I know not how I lost him. here I kneel. If e'er my will did trespass against his love, either in discourse of thought or actual deed, or that mine eyes, mine ears, or any sense delighted them in any other form, I do not yet, and ever did, and ever will, though he do shake me off to beggarly divorcement. I love him dearly. Comfort. Forswear me. Unkindness may do much, and his unkindness may defeat my life, but never taint my love. Some people think that I had feelings for James Avery, but that is just not true. Before he went away, there was something he used to say that I will never forget. He would say that he had been studying the situation since kindergarten and had made lists and charts and even held a personal pageant. And he finally determined that I was the prettiest girl in all of Danesville. He said that the prettiest girl can bring people hope and brighten their day. It wasn't that such a nice thing to say? I mean, especially coming from a delinquent. And so now, whenever I look in the mirror, I see Eleanor Roosevelt. Only, of course, pretty. I mean, don't get me wrong. Mrs. Roosevelt worked so hard to help the poor and the downtrodden, but can you imagine how much more she could accomplish if she were pretty? And I know there's inner beauty, but inner beauty's really tricky because, well, you can't prove it. I've been thinking a lot about this, about youth and beauty and all the different religions. I mean, Buddha, he was chubby. I mean, face it. And Confucius was all old and scraggly. You can't even have a picture of Muhammad. Was it the teeth? I don't know. But Jesus, he's always really, really pretty, with beautiful hair and shiny teeth. It's like God was saying, look to Jesus for tips. And there's that German guy, Adolf Hitler, and he thinks everyone should be beautiful and blue-eyed and perfect, but, well, that's wrong too, because who would be the best friends? And I'm not trying to be vain or prideful. I just always think back to what James said in one of his letters. He said there are two things that matter in this world: youth and beauty. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brianna, for the fabulous performance, not to mention the fabulous shoes. To conclude the first half of our showcase, after which we'll have a 10-minute intermission, we present sopranos Sandra Perriord, a native of Saline, Michigan. Sandra is in her third year of undergraduate studies in vocal performance at the Jacobs School in the studio of Alice Hopper. Most recently, she performed the role of the fairy godmother in Massenet Saint-Tryon with IU Opera Theater, having performed previously in productions of La Bohème and Candide, as well as the Roundabout Opera for Kids production of Into the Woods. Accompanied on the piano by Carolyn McClellan, Sandra will be singing The Silver Swan by Ned Rorem and an aria from Donizetti's Linda de Chamonix. Hi, we're back. We now move on to the second half of our program, beginning with the art of creative fiction. Leslie Marie Aguilar was born and raised in Abilene, Texas. She received her Bachelor of Arts from Texas Tech University, where she graduated summa cum laude. She has served as the poetry editor of the Harbinger Journal of Literature and Art, and was a finalist for the Stephen Ross Huffman Memorial Poetry Award. She is also a recipient of the Lewis McNutt Fellowship and the Indiana University Graduate Fellowship. Her poems have appeared or are forthcoming in Bellingham Review, Emerge Literary Journal, Rattle, and San Pedro River Review, among others. She is currently an MFA candidate at Indiana University, where she is an associate instructor of creative writing. Please welcome Leslie Aguilar.
Thank you for that introduction, and thank you all for being here this afternoon. I'm going to read 3 poems, the first of which begins with an epigram from John Lennon and Paul McCartney. And it is, "You were only waiting for this moment to arise." Blackbird Penance. The blackbirds in the withering pecan tree behind my childhood home never quite made it into the trash can after my father shot them with his BB gun. Instead, they would cling to telephone wires, hoping for a resurrection that would rise up in the form of a stalled dive down towards the alley road below. I found a dead squirrel in that trash can once and wondered how it got there, because birds aren't different than squirrels. Blood from the body is blood from any body, and birds aren't different than squirrels, Father, but I am waiting for the right moment to tell you. Remember when I was smaller, how you would sing Blackbird as you shined your military boots. I would watch your work-worn knuckles move back and forth over the leather and wonder who had sunken eyes and broken wings. In a different version, I imagine the blackbird as a gun that hides in your closet the night I come home too late. It rattles its wings against the cage of your hands and breaks them over my body. My blood is your blood, Father, and I am waiting for the right moment to tell you the 5 blackbirds tattooed across my ribs use their blue-black beaks as knives to carve out a place for you. They are a reminder that you are mine and I claim you. So this next poem I'm going to read is for Mr. Otis Clint Frazier and his angels. So this is called 30 for Big O. The day a boy becomes a man takes 30 years, I heard someone say, to an old man with wrinkles folded into his green eyes, like the veins of the leaves I wore in my hair the day we met. Now, I wake up every morning to the strength of his grandson's arms pulling me closer into himself. Like the quilts that swallow me during the night. That September night when I wasn't sleeping, the frigid air as a final breath was enough to contain the silence of his mother's breathless words. I pretended not to hear gone, but he was like a child again in my arms as I cradled his head like the babies he hoped I would carry. In my hands, I held his sticky face, hot with tears, shed over a man who was his father's father, a foundation for the family that called him Pawpaw. In Strawn, where grass grows higher than basset hound legs, the chain link fence was built to keep the children in. Today, that boy is a child learning to become a man. He learns that absence is pressure mounting in his lungs, making it harder to breathe. During the night, as I fold myself into his shaking body, his jaw clenches in response to an anger misplaced onto an absent God. That boy, waiting to become a man, remembers me saying he needed to be 30. It would be easier if he were 30. And this final poem that I'm going to read is after the poet Rodney Jones, and it's entitled Resurrection Fern. Together, we drive south down US 277, listening to a song by Iron and Wine. We share a slow way of listening to folk music as you drive your Jeep Grand Cherokee towards Dead Man's Curve. I hear the whining guitar with its useless longing, then the bearded man singing, and imagine what could have happened. Picnics in cotton fields, bridges built above dry creek beds, and the wild hog that ran off with Beauregard the bloodhound. A patchy fog bursts across the cracked windshield, and I gasp for breath back as your cigarette embers glitter down black asphalt and highlight things going by. Coronado's camp, 2 blinking caution lights, 2 accidents in December, trips off the nearby bluff, too many close calls. Our ghosts will say we gave the world what we saw fit. Stubborn boy with big green eyes, you see valleys in the small of my back as I arch toward the moon, as I undress beside the ashes of all the animals you buried on the hill. Zeke the ferret, Leonardo the turtle, and Lizzie the lizard that lived in the cross ties behind your house. We are more a pair of railroad tracks in sunflower fields than the pecan tree wound around in baling wire. We are supposed to be somewhere, anywhere else, but the fallen house across the way keeps both of us in its blue jean pocket like the gold coins you stole when you were just a boy. My attention glides from one lane to the next, and I am not myself without the low hum of your mustached voice. So as we pass Dead Man's Curve on our way home, I play the song again, 2 times, and then again. We are a lucky pair in the dark Texas country, singing along, taking a trip off the bluff just for fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Those were wonderful. And as someone on the edge of 30, I found the second one especially touching. Our next performer is Evelyn Gaynor, who is a second-year MFA student in acting at the IU Department of Theater and Drama, where she has made a wide range of appearances in productions such as School for Scandal, The God of Carnage, When the Rain Stops Falling, Cabaret, and A Midsummer Night's Dream. Hailing from Acton, Massachusetts, and holding a BFA in acting from Syracuse University, Evelyn offers us today performances as Ruth from The Norman Conquest and Queen Margaret from Henry VI, Part 3.
I think you have to give a little, Tom. Give. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand me? Oh, you really are the most frustrating person to talk to, Tom. I feel like one of those wheels, those mice, you know, on those wheels that they have in cages, you know, the ones where they're just spinning round and round like mad, getting nowhere. I think your brain works all right. I think what must happen is it receives a message from the outside. But once that message goes inside your head, it's like an unfiled internal memo in a vast civil service department. And it just gets shouted from desk to desk with nobody taking responsibility for it. Let's try a few simple reactions, shall we? I love you, Tom. I love you. I love you, Tom. No? All right, another one. I hate you, Tom. Do you hear me? I hate you. No, Tom, this is not a game. This is an attempt to communicate. Oh, you really have the most disastrous effect on me. Did you know that? I have a desire to put on my glasses and take off my clothes and dance naked on the grass for you, Tom. And I would put on my glasses not, as you say, to improve the shape of my face, but to test your reaction, if any. And as I whirled, faster and faster the light, glinting off my lenses, flashing messages of passion and desire, I would hurl you to the ground and rip off your clothes, and we would make mad, hot, torrid, steaming love together. How does that grab you, Tom? Oh, God. Oh, I'm so sorry. I am exhausted. I tried my best. I'm so sorry. What? Was it you who would be England's king? Was it you that revelled in our parliament and made a preachment of your high descent? Where are your nests of sons to back you now, the wanton Edward and the lusty George? And where's that valiant crookback prodigy, Dickie, your boy, that with his grumbling voice was wont to cheer his dad in mutinies? Or, with the rest, where is your darling Rutland? Look, York, I stained this napkin with the blood that valiant Clifford with his rapier's point made issue from the bosom of the boy. And if thine eyes can water for his death, I give thee this to dry your cheeks withal. What? Hath thy fiery heart so parched thine entrails that not a tear can fall for Rutland's death? Alas, poor York, but that I hate thee deadly, I should lament thy miserable state. I prithee, grieve to make me merry, York. Stamp, rave, and fret, that I may sing and dance. York would be feed, I see, to make me sport. York cannot speak unless he wear a crown for York. And lords, bow low to him. Hold you his hands whilst I do set it on. Marry, sir, now looks he like a king. Aye, this is he that took King Henry's chair, and this is he was his adopted heir. And will you pale your head in Henry's glory and rob his temples of the diadem now in his life against your solemn oath? Oh, 'tis a fault too unpardonable. Off with the crown, and with the crown his head. And whilst we breathe, take time to do him. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Evelyn. Returning now to dance, we welcome to the stage Layla Hazelwood, a senior contemporary dance major at Indiana University. She is a native of Indianapolis, where she began her dance training at the age of 8 at her mother Vanessa Owens' Kenyatta Dance Studio. She has studied ballet, modern, tap, jazz, and African dance, just to name a few, and upon graduation, she plans to pursue a professional dance career. Layla was the 2011 and 2012 first place recipient of the National Society of Arts and Letters Dance Competition, In 2011, she went on to compete at the national level in Birmingham, Alabama, representing the Bloomington chapter in the choreography competition. Layla will be dancing a piece she choreographed titled Me, Oh My.
To make you laugh, I would be the fool for you. Although the people turn and stare, I really don't care. I would give my everything to keep you, boy. It breaks my heart when you're not there. I'll stage a ballet on a tabletop. Command performance, finger slide, yeah, yeah. And although I ain't got no tune, my show ain't gonna fly. I'll find the music there in your eyes. Oh, me, oh, my. I'm a fool for you, baby. Oh, me, oh, my. I'm crazy, baby. Oh, me, oh, my. Yeah, I'm a fool for you, baby. Come on, let your love light shine on me. We'll blow a genie from a cigarette, and then we'll take a magic carpet ride. Yes, we will. And we'll tell our smoky friend, hey, don't you forget, because you got to keep us side by side. Yeah. Oh, me, oh, my. Me, oh, my. I am a fool for you, baby. Me, oh, me, oh, my. You know that I'm crazy, baby. Yes, you do. Oh, me, oh, my. Oh, I'm a fool for you, baby. Come on, let your love light shine on me. Would you do that? Come on, let your love light shine on me. Oh, come on, let your love light shine on me. Oh, hear me now. Oh, me, I'm a fool for you, baby. Oh, me, oh, my. You know that I'm crazy, baby.
Thank you. Next, we welcome to the stage Maddie Shea Baldwin, a sophomore BFA musical theater student at IU. Originally from San Diego, California, she has appeared at IU as Vendla in Spring Awakening and Maureen in Lysistrata. Other credits include Heidi in the recent University Players production of Title of Show, and Bombshell at the Bloomington Playwrights Project. And on a personal note, I've had the incredible pleasure of working with Maddie in productions of The Truman Show, Maggie Cassidy, and The Boy in the Bathroom, all of which were also at the BPP. She can be seen on television every Friday at 4:30 as the co-host of WTIU's The Friday Zone, and will soon be performing in Swing with the Indiana Festival Theater this summer. With musical selections from 9 to 5 and Promises, Promises, as well as a monologue from Women of Manhattan, please welcome Maddie Shea Baldwin and once again pianist Nat Segree.
wall. He was a wall and was really alone, showing myself to nobody at all. Even when I got into town and broke him out and I made this speech at him and I got all pink in the face and noble and shit, he just said, all right, and left. What did I delude myself into thinking was going on between us, and that's how he could take it ending? I mean, to tell you the naked truth, I'm not even sure there was a Jerry. Sometimes I think I just worked myself into crazy passion and fell in love with the wall right there. Me crazy loving it because I needed to love and not a human man. I could not have poured everything out into a really, truly human man and him just stand there and take it and give nothing back. But when I get too far gone in that direction of thinking and alone here some nights, I do. It does me good to look there and see those sneakers on the floor. His sneakers. He was here, it happened. Sometimes I feel you're mine alone, and yet I'm sure it's just not so. I get this feeling on my own after I've learned if you're staying or if you're going from moment to moment. You're two different people. So I know as a man I love and the man I wish I never knew. But however you are, deep down, whatever you Sometimes your
Thank you, Maddie and Nat. Our next performer is Jennifer Gruner, a junior at IU from Huntington Valley, Pennsylvania, who is working towards a Bachelor of Science in Ballet Performance with an outside field in communications and culture. She received her ballet training at Philadelphia Dance Theater and has attended summer programs at the School of American Ballet, Pacific Northwest Ballet, Miami City Ballet, and Chautauqua. Jennifer was a Youth American Grand Prix finalist from 2005 to 2010 and has performed with the Pennsylvania Ballet and the Nutcracker and the Sleeping Beauty. While at IU, Jennifer has been featured in Paul Taylor's Company B and Cloven Kingdom, Joshua Bergass's Baker Dances, Balanchine's Concerto Barocco as Princess Florine in The Sleeping Beauty, and as one of the principal women in Peter Martin's 8 Easy Pieces. Today, Jennifer will be performing a variation from Paquita.
Thank
College Academy. Our next featured performer, Lydia Umlauf, currently attends Indiana University's Jacobs School of Music, where she studies violin with Alexander Kerr. Lydia has been a finalist and won awards in several music competitions and has been invited to play many recital performances, including in the Young Steinway Concert Series and with the Lafayette and Muncie Symphony Orchestras. Lydia plays a 1916 Carl Becker violin on generous loan from the Rachel Elizabeth Barton Foundation. And on that instrument, she brings us today Sonata No. 7 in C minor by Ludwig van Beethoven, accompanied at the piano by Alexei Artemyev. Thank you, Jennifer and Alexi. Our final performer this afternoon is Jeremy Johnson, a baritone at the Jacob School, who could be found on stage at the MAC in roles such as Mazzetto and Don Giovanni, Schonard in La Boheme, Horem Hobb in Philip Glass's Akhenaten, and Gladhand in West Side Story. Last summer, he appeared as Seramantio and Maestro Spinoloccio in the Princeton Festival's production of Gianni Schicchi. He sang the role of Peter in the touring production of Don Freund's Romeo and Juliet, has been a featured soloist in Haydn's Die Schöpfung, Bach's Johannespassion, Britain's Rejoice in the Lamb and Liszt's Die Seligkeiten, and this summer he will be a getting young artist with the Opera Theater of St. Louis. I should add that I have the enormous privilege and pleasure of accompanying Jeremy this afternoon, and as I make my way towards the piano, I hope you will welcome him to the stage to sing for us Richard Strauss's Morgen and Largo al Factotum from Rossini's Barber of Seville.
Tutti mi vogliono, torno ragazze, vecchi fanciulle,
Jeremy, for that wonderful performance, and to all of you for being such a wonderful audience. We've come to the portion of the afternoon then where I will gladly hand the podium over to the Bloomington chapter's co-presidents, Ruth Albright and Dennis Organ.
Yeah, I want to do the musical theater. Probably not necessary to say, but I'm Ruth Albright, co-president, and this is Dennis Organ, co-president. This is the 47th Annual Showcase of the Arts for the Bloomington chapter of the National Society of Arts and Letters. We were founded in 1966. Our parent organization was founded in 1944. And I think it's incredible that for 47 years we have presented young artists in a public performance and given well over $500,000 in awards. This afternoon we're giving $25,000 to, I did 57 certificates. There are 57 winners in 8 different disciplines. Murray Robinson, our treasurer, wrote 54 checks. So it's quite a deal. It's quite a deal to get to the place of being able to put this show on. We have 2 very special guests in our audience today. I would like to have them stand. Lee, could you turn the house lights up a little bit so that people could see them? Catriona Tudor-Erler, who's the national NSAL president, is here visiting our chapter today. In addition, Judy Park, who's the second vice president of the national organization, is here today. And we're just delighted to have them come and see what we do, because we do more competitions than any of the other chapters in the country. We do them in all of the disciplines every year, and we're so happy that we can do that and that we have such generous donors. I want to present the Musical Theater Awards. George Pinney, Terry LeBold, Ray Feldman, and Liza Gennaro, the entire department, are all in New York for the senior showcase. 8 seniors went to New York. Oh, I don't know, Friday, Saturday, whatever. I'm on Facebook with a lot of these young people so I can keep track of what they're doing, and I have been getting terrible, terrible Facebook entries from the 4 that went by bus. And, I can tell you, don't do it. Don't even think about it. Anyway, some of these young people will not be here today because they are in New York, and Brooke Wood, who was our top winner, was not able to perform today because she is in New York, but we wish them luck. They will be presenting their showcase tomorrow and Tuesday for casting agents and casting directors and agents, and other people who can help them get their careers started. So our first, would all of the musical theater students please come up, the ones who are here, so that we can present your awards. The first one, whom I know is not here, is Kurt Semler. And we're delighted that he has won his second NSAL award. Claire Drews, are you here? I have not gotten to know Claire Drews yet, but hey, I'm coming for you. Claire has won the Governor Merit Award in musical theater. The Joanne Athanas Memorial Award is Emily Schulteis. Favorite of mine. I've had a crush on him for 2 years and only wished I was 50 years younger. Taylor Croucher. Won the Elmer P. Ralston Memorial Award. The winner of the David E. Albright Memorial Award, which of course is near and dear to my heart because David was my husband and a wonderful man, is Maddie Shea Baldwin. Robinson Merit Award is Todd Allworm. The Chapter Career Award, our top awards in each category, is Brooke Wood. who isn't here today, but she is going to perform for our chapter at our Red Rose Luncheon on May 5th. So we will not let her get off scot-free. And she's wonderful, so we will enjoy seeing her then. And now I'll turn it over to Denny.
I'll call upon the other competition chairs to present awards to their respective award winners. Before I do, I would like to add a special note of thanks to Eric, our MC, for bringing his multidimensional talent to bear upon our proceedings and his commitment to the arts. He really gives it a note of class. And if I may, I would add a brief note of collective and anonymous thanks to all the people who served as judges. All of these 8 areas demand the highest caliber of knowledge and skill and background in the arts. We have to go obviously well beyond our chapter, even beyond Indiana University sometimes to get these people. Every area requires almost always at least 3, sometimes there's a 4th. They come from Cincinnati, Columbus, Ohio, Indianapolis, Louisville, and other places within and beyond the state. And they do it as a labor of love. There's no payment for this other than something for their mileage. And they do it out of commitment and just respect, I think, in part too, for Indiana University and its varied departments in the arts. And I wish we had time to name them all, but we won't do that. You'll see their names in the program. Okay, I think it would be appropriate to start with visual art. So, because that is the area of national focus this year. And if you haven't already had a chance to see the exhibitions in the arts, they're still, I think, going on the slideshow outside. So I will call upon Catherine Johnson Rohr to do the honors for this.
Thank you, Denny. And I want to thank Julie Roberts, the gallery director here at the Waldron. She was a huge help and really did a beautiful job installing the show. I hope you all had a chance to see it in January, but if you didn't, it is playing on the slideshow. Would all of the visual arts winners who are here please come down? I know that a few of you couldn't come, but I saw a few familiar faces. Our chapter prize winner is Lisa Wicca, who will be representing our chapter in Pittsburgh this year, so we wish her luck. Lisa won the Granville Wells Memorial Award. Keegan Miles Adams won the Ilkner P. Ralston Memorial Award, and he's not here today. The Alma Eicherman Memorial Award goes to Chad Copeland. Janelle Beasley won the Christ Merit Award. Jenna Jacobs won the Alma Eicherman Memorial Award. The Klein Merit Award goes to Amy Denault. Rachel Baxter won the Grace L. Dyer Memorial Award. Kara Kalani won the Alan Kahn Memorial Award, which is for photography. We also had 3 very generous awards from Pygmalion's Art Supplies here in Bloomington. So these are gift certificates for art supplies, which should come in handy. Rebecca A. Jones won a Pygmalion's Award. Also Seth Dalton and Rachel Baxter. So thank you very much. And congratulations.
I now call on Anne Marie Parker for the distribution of the ballet certificates and awards.
Hello, I'd like to present 5 awards. And would the ballet dancers please come on down? Austin, Christopher, Katie, and Jennifer. I would like to present to Austin Downey the Marina Sverdlova Memorial Award. Mary Quinn Aber received the Marina Svetlana Memorial Award as well. However, she has an audition today. Christopher Linger, I would like to present another Marina Svetlana Award. Thank you very much. Catherine Zimmerman receives the Joanne Athanas Memorial Award. Thank you. Chapter award goes to Jennifer Gruner with the Joanne Athanas Memorial Award. Thank you.
And now for the voice competition award winners, Alice Marie Cox and Jim Cox, who coordinated that event.
Could the voice winners please come forward? We had a wonderful competition this year, and I'm so glad that you got to hear 2 of them sing. The winner of the Ilkner P. Ralston Award goes to Riley Svatos. The winner of the Jacoby Merit Award was won by Lauren Walker, a mezzo-soprano from Ball State. Unfortunately, she's performing there today, so she couldn't be with us. The winner of the Davis Merit Award goes to Tasha Kuntz. Tasha's not here either, okay. The winner of the Jean Branch Memorial Award goes to Anastasia Talley. The winner of the Cox and Cook Merit Award goes to Joshua Conyers. The winner of the Donald Felton Memorial Award goes to Sandra Perriord. And the Chapter Career Award goes to Jeremy Johnson. Thank you, everyone.
And Celine Carter, will you come and do the honors for the contemporary dance winners? Thank you.
Hello, could I please have all the contemporary dance awardees join me, please? The first award I'm presenting is the Marina Svetlova Memorial Award, and that goes to Julian Ramos. The next award is the Shiner Merit Award, and that award is to Joe Musial. We have another Marina Svetlova Memorial Award to Kate Anderson, and she's in Jerusalem working with Elizabeth Shea, setting a piece on the Jerusalem Academy of Music and Dance Ensemble, so she can't be with us. Also, we have another Svetlova Memorial Award for Lorena Sanchez, who is not present today. Next is the Joanne Athanas Memorial Award to Laura Gruner. And finally, the Chapter Career Award to Layla Hazelwood. Thank you all so much.
I just wanted to say that this is Layla's third top award in a row, and we're so proud of her. And also, in case any of you are wondering, Laura Gruner and Jennifer Gruner are sisters. So we were a little confused at first. We had two Gruners, but they are sisters.
Now for the Literature Awards, and so I'll ask Rick and Lois Hull if they will do the honors.
We had 38 entries, 4 wonderful judges, and they picked the real cream of the crop. And I would ask that the literature winners come forward, please. That's not all of them, but the others apparently are not all here. I'll mention the ones that aren't here because they did win nice awards. The Margaret Kessling Award went to Dallas Nicole Woodburn. The Marjorie Borkenstein Award went to Natalie Lund. The Margaret Piercy Memorial Award went to Sarah Greb. The Ledford Carter Memorial Award went to Keith Leonard. And we have our 2 top winners here. Hiba Christ won the Joanne Athanas Award. Appreciate that. Great job. Thank you. And the chapter award went to Leslie Marie Aguilar. It's a great poetry. Thank you.
The chair of the instrumental music competition could not be here today, so in her stead, I will ask the instrumental music winners to come forth, and I will have the pleasure of passing to them their certificates and awards. To Lydia Grace Umloff, the Ham Merit Award and Joanne Athas Memorial Award in Instrumental Music. Congratulations. The Helen and Linton Caldwell Memorial Award in Instrumental Music to Maria Jose Romero Ramos.
She had a 3 o'clock
Oh, that's right, she had the,
recital or something that she had to play in.
okay. The Drews Merit Award in Instrumental Music, Sarah Chen. The Donald Neal Memorial Award in Instrumental Music to Mihailo Zhivodovich. Is he present? The O'Meara Merit Award in Instrumental Music to Alexandra Caitlin Mullins. The Barbera Merit Award in Instrumental Music to Sing Mi Son. In case I mispronounced that, I guess it won't be known. And then the McDonald Merit Award in Instrumental Music to Anna Eileen McNulty. Thank you. Okay, would the drama winners now come to the front? The Helen and Linton Caldwell Memorial Award in Drama goes to Grant Niezgotsky. Hope I didn't ruin your name. The Hegarty Merit Award in Drama to Emily Harp. The Harris Somalis Merit Award, Mara Leffler. The Ilkner P. Ralston Memorial Award to Adam Gregory St. John. The Lyneth Brockett, Carol Moody, and Fran Snigg Memorial Award, Nathan Robbins. The Laura Shiner Memorial Award, Brianna McClellan. And the Chapter Career Award in Drama to Evelyn Gaynor. Well, I think that wraps it up. Thank you all for coming. And please don't forget, we have a reception following, and we'd love to shake some hands of some winners, I think, and congratulate them in a very personal and direct way. Thank you all for coming.